development of milk, development of cows is not so important as development of man. And to develop man, you have to involve him in the processes of development.
Your morning chai probably wouldn't even exist if Amul hadn't happened. Back in 1946, just before India got independence, we were actually a milk deficit country. The dairy market was dominated by Paulson, a company backed by the British government. Farmers worked hard to produce milk, but were paid next to nothing.
किसानों को हाशिए पर रखकर उनका शोषण किया जा रहा था, जहां उन्हीं की मेहनत की सारी मलाई ठेकेदार, डेयरी मालिक और विक्रेता खा रहे थे.
While Paulson sold it at high prices in fancy restaurants and other places and made massive profits. They exploited Indian farmers, bought milk from them at dirt cheap prices, and all this not because there was no demand, but because they could, and no one stopped them. Now imagine a country that worships cows didn't even have milk for its own people. As per the National Dairy Development Board, in 1947, India's per capita milk availability was just 130 grams per day, which means an average Indian had access to just half a glass of milk a day. This is because Paulson made butter and other milk products and sold them to all the expensive places in Mumbai. So barely anything was left for the people behind. Moreover, the system was extremely unorganized. That is when two legends, Tribhuvan Das Patel and the father of the White Revolution, Verghese Kurian, stepped in. With the support of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, they established a cooperative society in Gujarat's Kera district, which later became known as Anand Milk Union Limited. That is Amul.
युवा वर्गीज में त्रिभुवन दास जी को दिखी चमत्कार को सच करने की काबिलियत, और इस चमत्कार को युवा वर्गीज ने सच करके भी दिखाया. इस तरह से भारत में जन्मा अमूल.
The history almost as long as independent India itself.
ये सफर है दूध की एक बूंद से शुरू हुई क्रांति का.
How big was this white revolution that India, which was once a milk deficit country, is now the world's #1 milk producer? Today, we export milk to over 50 countries like the US, UK, Singapore, Australia and more. In fact, in FY25, where Britannia did 17,000 crores, Nestle India did 20,000 crores, HUL did 60,000 crores, ITC did 72,000 crores, Amul did a whopping 90,000 crores in revenue, more than HUL and ITC. And the most amazing part, as you already know, Amul is not a private company. It's a cooperative run and owned by farmers. So now the question is, how on earth did Amul build a 90,000 crore empire that other companies couldn't even come close to? And all this on a cooperative model owned by farmers. The answer to this is the amazing supply chain of Amul. This is the story of India's biggest milk revolution. This is the story of how India became a global leader in milk production. This is the story of Amul. Hi, I'm Hiral and welcome to Level Up with Hiral. Please subscribe to the channel because one click from your end helps us reach many more people. Back then, the British government didn't allow farmers to supply milk to Bombay through cooperatives. Why? Because they knew if cooperatives stepped in, the profits they were getting through Paulson would disappear. In response, the farmers launched a 15-day milk strike in 1946. This strike was so huge that it disrupted the city's milk supply.
Born out of a dream for the economic liberation of the farmers, the protest movement gained strength and matured into a mass movement.
And the authorities did not have a choice but to agree. Starting with just 2 villages and 250 liters of milk per day, the movement quickly grew, reaching 432 farmers and 5,000 liters daily by the end of 1948. This was the start of India's dairy revolution. So now, the farmers had their cooperative, but they still needed a technical genius, someone who knew how to handle milk, set up a plant and make sure it didn't get spoiled before chai time. And that's where our genius, Dr. Verghese Kurian, came in the picture.
He gave me a completely free hand to develop the cooperative as I wanted, to build it up as I wanted.
He had come from Michigan State University, where he did mechanical and dairy engineering, and got posted to Anand. The first big problem was the winter season. Buffaloes produced 2.5 times more milk. So farmers had surplus milk, and now they could either sell it to the middlemen at dirt cheap rates or let it go waste. Kurian didn't like either option, so he thought, let's process the extra milk into stuff that lasts longer, like butter and milk powder. Now guys, this was a simple idea, but the impact was very, very powerful. With support from the Indian government, UNICEF and others, they planned a 50 lakh rupee plant. On October 31st, 1955, Pandit Nehru inaugurated it. Why was this actually a big deal is because this was the very first factory in the world to convert buffalo milk into milk powder. Before that, milk powder was made only from cow milk, a total game changer. They made butter, cheese, baby food, and to sell all these products in an effective way, they needed a brand. Kurian came up with Amul, which was an abbreviation of the cooperative Anand Milk Union Limited, also short for Amulya, which means priceless. When it comes to milk, every dairy company, big or small, faces two hardcore challenges. 1. Milk is a perishable product with razor thin margins. It spoils in just 24 to 48 hours. So dairy companies have to collect, chill, process and deliver it all within 8 to 12 hours. And despite that pressure, dairy players make only 1 to 3 rupees per litre. In tough seasons, they sometimes even operate at a loss. Second, logistics is a chaos. Because milk has a short shelf life and needs a cold chain to stay fresh, logistics becomes a real challenge. Managing cold chains, tankers, suppliers and distributors on time and without fail is nothing short of a logistical nightmare. So how did Amul crack this chaos? How did they turn a low margin perishable product into a 90,000 crore dairy empire? First, they realized and used milk as a value-added product. Now, what is a value-added product? It is when you take a basic product and turn it into something more useful, more convenient, or simply more premium. So people are willing to pay more for it. Let's understand this with the example of wheat. You buy 5 kg of wheat from a farmer at 20 rupees per kg. So total cost is 100 rupees. Now, you grind it into atta. So grinding cost is 25 rupees, that is 5 rupees per kg. Total cost 125 rupees. You sell the atta at 40 rupees per kg. So 5 into 40 would be 200 rupees. Profit 75 rupees and margin 60%. Now, let's take it a step further. You use the same 5 kg of atta to make biscuits. Add sugar and ghee, that is 150 rupees. Add baking and packaging costs, another 50 rupees. So total additional cost is 200 rupees. Now the total cost 125 rupees plus 200 rupees, that is 325 rupees. You now have 5 kg of wheat biscuits. Biscuits sell at 150 rupees per kg. So 5 into 150, that is 750 rupees. Profit 425 rupees and margin 130%. And this is exactly what Amul did with milk. Instead of just selling plain milk, which barely gives any margin and has a shelf life of just 8 to 12 hours, they flipped the game. They turned that same milk into butter, cheese, ghee, ice cream and even chocolates. Now, why was this move so smart? Because these value-added products don't just sell at better prices, they also last way longer. Products like butter, cheese and ghee don't spoil in half a day like milk does. So no more wastage of milk. Now take a look at this chart. It shows all the value-added products made from milk along with their shelf life and margins. Milk has a gross margin of 3 to 5%, charge of 5 to 8%, dahi 8 to 12%, paneer 10 to 15%, butter 15 to 25%, ghee 20 to 35%, barfi 15 to 25%, ice cream 20 to 30%. And if you look at private players who followed the same playbook, you'll see one thing loud and clear: better margins. Because the more value-added products you have, the better your profit game gets. This sweet relationship between value-added products and margins is a master move, especially for a commodity like milk, where margins are razor thin. Now guys, coming to our second problem, how was Amul able to move low shelf life products like milk, paneer, chocolate and ice cream across a country as huge and hot as India? Here's where it gets even more difficult. You're not getting tankers full of milk from one big farm. Each farmer gives 1 to 2 liters of milk. That means Amul has to collect milk from lakhs of farmers twice a day, every single day. It's almost like moving snow without letting it melt. So how is this even possible? The answer is Amul's legendary supply chain, the Anand pattern. Let me walk you through how a glass of Amul milk reaches your table. Let's say there's a farmer named Ramesh living in a small village in Gujarat. Every morning and evening, Ramesh milks his cows and takes it to his local village dairy cooperative society. one of 18,600 such societies across India. His milk gets weighed, quality tested, and he is paid the same day. Now imagine 36 lakh farmers doing this daily. That's how many people pour milk into Amul's ecosystem twice a day. Once collected, the milk from Ramesh's society travels to the District Milk Union, one of 18 such unions like Kaira or Mehsana's Doodhsagar Dairy. Here, it is chilled, pasteurized and processed into various products. These unions also support farmers by offering veterinary services, cattle feed, training and even help improve breed quality. From here, it's sent to the top of the pyramid or apex body, the Gujarat Cooperative Milk Marketing Federation, something like Amul's headquarters. They handle branding, innovation and distribution to 3,500 plus distributors and 5 lakh plus retail outlets, making sure you find Amul butter in your local Kirana store. They also export their products to 15 plus countries. Amul procures over 3.5 crore liters of milk every day from 36.4 lakh farmers across India. They've got 100 plus processing plants, cold storage setups and milk chilling units across states. And the logistics are also sorted. Milk from villages is chilled within hours and sent to unions. From here, it travels to RDCs, that is regional distribution centers, using refrigerated trucks or rail tankers. Amul has partnered with Adani Logistics to run bulk tanker shipments. Across India, there are around 49 plus RDCs and depots, all equipped with cold storage and refrigerators to handle early morning shipments. From the RDCs, small insulated trucks, 3 to 5 tons, deliver to Anand preferred outlets or APOs every morning. And each distributor handles 10 to 15 outlets. These trucks are equipped with ice packs and GPS, allowing Amul to track routes, delivery times and temperatures through its IT systems. Amul's logistics app digitizes the entire process: truck sheets, GPS logs, delivery photos and temperature logs. This makes the supply chain paperless, auditable and tamper resistant. To further optimize logistics, Amul uses AI-driven demand forecasting, IoT sensors for cold chain monitoring, real-time route optimization to cut spoilage and delays. At the back end, Amul runs a fully outsourced SAP ERP implemented with IBM, which manages everything from procurement to distributor invoicing. This was Amul's secret sauce on the supply side. How brilliant was Amul's supply chain? Let's understand it through the ultimate test, COVID-19.
COVID pandemic is in the end game in India.
COVID-19 has sent India's once fast-growing economy into a tailspin. Growth has plunged into negative territory.
While most FMCG companies had to cut down their operations during COVID, Amul made 39,200 crore, while others were struggling just to stay afloat. The turnover of its branded consumer products like fresh milk, cheese, curd, buttermilk and paneer increased 8.5 to 9%. They even launched 33 new products during lockdown, including turmeric milk, immunity-boosting haldi ice creams and others, right when people needed them the most. And they backed it with bold supply moves. Sold 150 lakh liters of milk per day, procured 35 extra liters of milk daily, paid 800 crores extra to rural milk producers, kept their supply chain running at full capacity. Now, what made this possible? It all comes down to extraordinary supply chain management. Initially, even Amul saw a 12% dip in demand because 20% of its revenue came from hotels, caterers and restaurants which shut down overnight. But Amul made a smart pivot. As a result of the pandemic, there was a big shift in consumer behavior. A lot of people started experimenting with fancy dishes, baking, making dalgona coffees at home, and milk products are the core ingredient for all these things. There was a spike in demand for home-use dairy products. Milk consumption went up. People moved from loose milk to packaged milk. Where others misjudged demand and slowed supply, Amul doubled down. And it worked. The demand of some products like cheese and paneer was more than normal, even nearly double for some others. Despite operating at 115% capacity, it still wasn't enough. They used the vacant plants from other companies to meet demand. So how did they manage this at scale? The answer is digitalization and having a lot of systems in place. A lot of credit goes to the tech backbone. They have a full-fledged digital IT system that tracks every operational detail, from milk procurement to the village level to distribution trucks in cities, everything. Everything was visible, real-time and actionable. 18,600 village collection centers monitored live. Real-time dashboard showing plant capacity, milk availability and truck movement. They also have AI-based predictions. Which villages have a surplus? Which cities will face shortages? Optimal truck routes to balance it all. Idle capacity was instantly identified and redirected. If plant X in Gujarat was at 60% and plant Y in Maharashtra was overloaded, the system would recommend redistributing the load instantly. This way, there is no wastage, no delays, and efficiency is at maximum. And where others were cutting costs, Amul paid farmers 2 rupees more per litre during the pandemic. And most of the FMCG giants spend huge amounts on advertising. HUL spends 6,200 crores per year. That is 12% of what they earn. Nestle spends 965 crores per year, about 10% of what they earn. Amul spends under 900 crores per year, less than 1% of what they earn. Yet, 99% of the people recognize the Amul brand, even better than the companies that spend way more on ads. And why does this work? Amul uses umbrella branding. They put the same brand name on everything they make, whether it's milk, butter, cheese or ice cream. It all says Amul. Their branding is so strong today that I'm sure most of you watching this video consume an Amul butter and probably can't even think of another brand's butter. So instead of spending money to build separate brands for each product, Amul builds trust in just one name. Every time someone buys an Amul product, it strengthens the whole brand. It's like getting advertising for all your products while only paying once. People end up trusting Amul across all food categories. And the company saves millions on marketing while staying more recognizable than its big spending competitors. After building a 90,000 crore dairy empire, Amul is now focusing on a big health problem in India: protein deficiency. 90% of Indians don't know how much protein they eat. 80% don't get enough protein in their diet. Amul wants to change that. They've even started their own D2C platform with items like high-protein buttermilk. But the problem is bigger than just a few products. How bad is India's protein crisis? What is Amul's game plan? And can they really solve it on a big scale? But all of this for a separate video altogether. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. Please share this video with your friends, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel because it helps us reach many more amazing people like you. I'll see you next week. Ciao for now.